Alright, guys, I'm gonna continue my reading journey for this book, The Cave of Jaguar. And today's chapter is The Village of the Jaguar. I'd like to have a shower. Where can I have one? Jim asked Simon in the morning. Follow me, Simon said. They walked They walked along a path through the jungle to a small river. A short way along there was a waterfall. There's your shower, said Simon. That evening, Jim wrote an email to Kitty. Hi, Kitty. I wish you were here. It's very different from Vancouver. My shower is a waterfall. This village is very small. There are no shop or anything. The villagers live in small huts with dirt floors. And I do too. There is no electricity. Simon has a generator that he sometimes turns on. We use it for our phones and for Simon's computer. But the villagers don't like the noise of the generator, so Simon doesn't use it very often. We use candles at night and we go to bed early. I like being here, but I miss you, Jim. The next morning, Jim saw some children playing football in in the clearing. Hey, Gringa, one boy shouted in English. He was a few years younger than Jim. Do you play football? The boy kicked the ball to Jim, who kicked it back. Good kick, Gringa, the boy laughed. You can play with us. Jim was happy to play, but before long he had to sit down. It was too hot to play football. After the game, the friendly boy came and sat with Jim. The other children left the clearing. Hello, Gringa, said the boy. My name is Gabor. I'm Jim. You speak English very well, Jim said. Thank you, Gabor replied. Simon helps me. He said, you will help me too. Of course I will, said Jim. Each day, Jim and Gabor walked in a jungle and or played football. They spoke English when they were together. They tried to speak Spanish, but Jim's Spanish was much worse than Gabor's English. Jim tried to learn some Mayan words, but the words were very hard to say. One thing Jim wanted to do in Guatemala was to photograph the local animals. One day he asked Simon, can I go into the jungle to take some photos? Simon looked at his nephew. Of course, it's not for me to say what you can do and can't do here. But it's best to stay on the path and watch where you walk. Why? Asked Jim. Simon replied, well, it's easy to get lost in the jungle. The plants grow thick, so you can see far. And there are some big spiders and dangerous snakes in Guatemala. But remember, spiders and snakes are afraid of people, so make a lot of noise and try not to step on them. Big spiders? Jim asked in a small voice. He wasn't afraid of snakes, but he really hated spiders. Simon nodded and smiled. Black hairy spiders as big as this, he said, holding up his open hand. Tarantulas. Tarantulas. Jim thought of the tarantulas he'd seen in movies. He hoped he never saw one in real life, but that didn't stop him going into the jungle. On the first walk, he saw a black and white bird with a big, colorful beak, a toucan. He took several good photographs before toucan flew away. Then, one day, he found something in the jungle. He told Katie about it in an email. Today, I found a Mayan temple in the jungle, not far from the village. Here's a photo of it. It's a pyramid with very large, steep steps on all sides. Steps too big to walk up. The side nearest to the village has a narrow staircase going all the way up. I looked for an entrance but didn't find one. I climbed to the top. I was higher than the trees. I could see the jungle for kilometers and all around. Some howler monkeys came up the pyramid. Gaber says that they can be dangerous. You should hear them, Katie. They growl. I left in a hurry. When I got back to the village, I asked Gaber about the temple. He said I mustn't go there again. He told me it's not for gringos, it's a secret. The villagers haven't told Simon about it. I won't tell Simon. Gaber asked me not to. I'll keep the villagers secret. Gaber began to tell me about it, but Itzel arrived and she looked at him. It was strange. He looked scared of her. Balaam has many secrets. Balaam has many secrets and surprises, but I'll stay away from the temple. Like Gaber said, I'm a gringo, and it's not for gringos. I said, I wouldn't tell anyone, so please keep the temple a secret. I miss you, Jim. Most days Simon left the village on his motorbike. He told Jim that he visited other villages. My job is to help them to sell their craft to people in other countries. The women sew colorful clothing and make other things, dolls and blankets. But why do you live here in the middle of the jungle? Jim asked. Why not in a town like Redul's? Simon explained. Balaam is the middle of the area I work in. From here I can get to most of the villages quickly. It's quicker than riding up the highway from Redul's all the time. Jim wanted to ask more, but Simon said, I like living in small villages. It's good to live like the locals live. Don't you agree? Jim thought Jim thought so too. Life was good in Balaam. Gabor helped Jim to find animals to photograph. Jim felt safe leaving the path with Gabor, so they went to places that he couldn't go to alone. Gabor never took Jim near the temple. They never talked about it again. Jim really liked watching the spider monkeys in the trees. They used their long, thin tails to hold on to branches while they ate leaves and fruit, and he was pleased to have photos of several colorful birds. But he really wanted to photograph one bird, a quetzal. He knew it was hard to see one in the jungle, but most days he looked for the beautiful birds with long, bright green tails. One day, About a month after he arrived in the village, Jim was in the jungle by himself. He was up in a tree trying to photograph a baby spider monkey and its mother. He heard some voices. He looked down and saw two men. One said, "This way." They are speaking English, gringos. Jim thought, where did they come from? I didn't hear a car drive into the village. The gringos were in the path of the waterfall. They were looking for something in the hillside. Jim wanted to say hello to them, so he started to climb down the tree, but then something green and colorful flew past him, a quasal. Quetzal. I lie silent about those men tonight, Jim thought. Then he tried to follow the beautiful bird so he could photograph it. Alright, it's enough for today's journey, for this book. Let's continue tomorrow. See you. Thank you. Bye.